The bishop's going to be meeting at 11 with the confirmands for the next service, so that means she has a grand total of about 20 minutes. So I'm sure we will give her our undivided attention. Thank you, Bishop.
Yeah. Good. Can I come down on floor level with y'all?
Please.
Yeah. Good. It feels so far away. Ooh, that's a good idea. I've been standing for a long time and will stand for a long time. So if this works, wonderful. Thank you, and it is such a blessing for me to be here. I have not been in a service this full with the whole choir singing since before pandemic. I mean, we've been worshiping and we've had some choirs and distancing and all the rest, but we're finally beginning to move past all of that, God willing, and still being cautious. I'm so glad that we're still wearing face. Around that same time, Ember Day letters began to come. Those are letters written 4 times a year to a bishop from people who are in an ordination process. And one of the seminarians wrote to me in a sort of apologetic way. She said, I think this year I need to give up fear for Lent, ha. And that really struck me as powerful, although she sort of made light of it as powerful. So this is a psalm of giving up fear for Lent. Every year when I was a child, I gave up chocolate for Lent. I did it because my mother did. My siblings did too. Sometimes we cheated when the 40 days began to feel like 50, 60, 70, a year, a lifetime. Sometimes we cheated, and we still got chocolate bunnies for Easter. Later, I gave up TV, that time sucker, and read novels for fun instead of for English class. Later still, I gave up spontaneous spending, dropping dollars for things I don't need and hadn't planned for. One year, I gave up listening to the inner tapes that tell me I'm not enough. That one was particularly hard. I've still not gotten the hang of it. This year, as I take up my mortality, I'm giving up fear. You say to me, oh God, through angels and prophets and friends and dreams, do not be afraid. So this year, as I wear my mortality on my sleeve, this year in the dust and ashes, this year in the hope of Easter wonder, I'm giving up fear for Lent. And I'm doing it again this year, because I still haven't gotten the hang of it either. It's a lifelong journey. Very early after Ash Wednesday, in fact, just a few days later, and so a very short time after the biopsy report, I ordained a group of 12 as deacons at Epiphany Church in Herndon. And it was the last big diocese that we did in person right before we began to shut down. And during that week, I was preparing for the ordinations and wrote this, a psalm for when I'm shaky. I am shaky, oh God, literally. I can't hold the pen to write the inscriptions in the Bibles of those I will ordain on Saturday. Literally. I'm losing words. My vocabulary reduced to a 5-year-old's. My breath stops in my chest. I have no appetite. I am shaky, God, literally. I try to breathe deeply in and out, and still I shake. You say, do not be afraid, and my body says, I'm terrified. God, give me rest. God, give me breath. God, still my shaky, achy, breaky heart, and give me your peace. I'm begging you. Part of the adjustment in those days as well was adjusting to being a cancer patient and that image and thinking of myself that way and hearing doctors refer to me that way. So the Psalm of the cancer patient. I am a cancer patient, oh God, me, a cancer patient, and that is shocking my world. I'm not afraid that I'll die of this cancer. That fear isn't on the horizon. I am afraid of being sick and fatigued. I am afraid of going back to the hospital over and over again during this pandemic when there's so much illness there. I am afraid of going to appointments alone with no one else to listen and take notes and ask questions. I can do this. And that's not just pep talk language. I'm resilient and I know how to advocate for myself and get the answers I need. If only I knew the questions. I can do this. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I just don't want to. I'm a cancer patient, oh God. Me, a cancer patient. And that is shocking my world. I know that some of you have been through similar times, and many of you, in fact, and some going through times now, or will. And I wonder what your prayers are in that time, as I share with you some of my prayers. The lovely things in that time were notes from people, loving cards and emails and responses to the blog, the special page that we set up on the diocesan website. From that came the Psalm of the Lovely Notes. People send me get well cards. They send me messages of strength and support at the special email address we've set up. They respond with words of encouragement to the blog I write. The notes are lovely and heartfelt. None sound perfunctory. None sound obligatory. They are truly loving and lovely. And I can read only a few at a time. Because the words, often beginning with, "I'm so sorry," don't fit my expectation, don't fit my experience, don't fit my self-image. I'm not sick. I don't feel sick. I don't know how to be sick. Except for the cancer, I'm fine. Except for the cancer, I'm well. Except for the cancer. Maybe I'm in denial, not about having cancer, but about this being a thing, a real thing, a big thing. I am fine. Except for the cancer, I'm fine. I really am. So I read the notes only a few at a time to let the reality sink in slowly. And for me, as that reality began to sink in, so did an important step, and that was the surgery. And so this is a psalm for the night before surgery. God, my beautiful God, as I make my bed again with newly washed sheets, as I fast from food and water, as I shower with surgical soap, then dress in absolutely clean pajamas, I'm a Vestal virgin preparing for the sacrifice, a bride preparing for her groom, a performer preparing for opening night, a traveler preparing for the journey. In the morning, I will walk in alone. I will strip naked before strangers who will put me to sleep and cut my body. I will put my life in their hands, literally. I will have no control. I will wear no symbols to show who I am, no wedding ring, no bishop's ring, no cross, just the purple hair and a plastic hospital bracelet. As I prepare to place my life in the hands of a medical team, I surrender to you, O God. Can I trust this fully? Can I surrender so deeply? Today, I place my hands in the medical team as I surrender to you, O God, and I choose to walk into the hospital tomorrow with grace and courage, to treat everyone I meet with kindness, to ask questions, to breathe, to let go of fear, to trust in you, O God, to hold on to hope, to walk in love, knowing that I am loved, knowing that I am not alone, never alone. So give me rest this night, dear God, because your healing comes in the morning. There are so many more I could share, but I turned to one that is just for fun, and then that I wrote after the journey began to be over. Of course, as many of you know, the journey of cancer is never completely over. It's a companion of sorts for the rest of our lives. And yet it's not as heavy a burden at some point. So this is a psalm, just for the fun of it, a psalm of puppy love. It occurs to me to wonder, as Tom drives me home from my first chemo infusion, now that strange fluids flow through my veins, will Georgia turn up her nose and avoid me like the plague, the way she did for 3 days after I ate homemade Korean fish soup during a parish visitation? We arrive home. I empty my chemo gear bag and sit on my living room chair. Georgia comes to me. She sniffs. Uh-oh, here it comes. Then she asks me to pick her up. She sits on my lap as long as I sit and sleeps at my side as long as I sleep for the next 3 nights and days. Praise God for loyal pets who know what we need when we need them the most. Praise God for puppy love. They're amazing creatures, aren't they? Oh, yeah. And my Georgia, she's a Chihuahua. Though she thinks she's a huge dog, she still continues to sleep at my side almost all the time since then. And I close with a psalm of 10,000 miracles. I have passed through the valley of shadows, through rugged, harsh stretches of wilderness. I feared no evil, but did fear change and loss. And you were with me, O God. Your rod and your staff did comfort me. Surely goodness and mercy did follow me and will follow me still all the days of my life. I know, because I have seen miracles, 10,000 wondrous miracles of love and kindness, hope and healing, simplicity and trust. I have caught astonishing glimpses of the realm of God in ordinary rainfall, in birdsong and husband love and words of strangers. 10,000 little miracles, 10,000 daily gifts, with tens of thousands more to come. I wonder, in the last about 2 minutes that we have, if any of you have any reflections or questions.
Will you publish that, please?
So I have pitched it to one publisher who said, no, this kind of thing isn't in their wheelhouse, continuing to work on it, and if not before I retire, then very soon after, we'll continue that work of looking for a publisher.
Thank you. Those are very powerful.
Thank you.
And I'm always interested in how these things come about in the creative act. And I'm just wondering, these sound as though these were very immediate and came at once. And I'm just wondering, is that right? Or did you go back over them and maybe how they're different from how you paint?
Yeah, thank you. So they came in journaling. I journal regularly, but as soon as this journey started, I was sure to journal every single day. So they didn't necessarily come out in exactly this form, but the words and the thoughts and the emotions did come out in my journal. And then I could go back and take it directly from my journal to put into this kind of a form. And I'm still doing that some. I just, a couple of weeks ago, wrote a psalm for the second cancerversary. And same thing, I was writing in the journal and just free flow, and then took what was in the journal to put into the form of one of these psalms. Yeah.
Thank you. Very meaningful to hear your voice and your words. You talk about your identity and sort of the cracking open of it, the splintering of it. What would you say was the shift your identity before was and your identity now is?
So some of the biggest shifts in identity for me are moving from what I've always known in my head as a pastor and trained as a pastor and walking that kind of road with other people, to actually experiencing and embracing the utter vulnerability and lack of control. Any pretense of control has pretty much been shattered for me. And, you know, we all know human nature. I do keep trying to take it back again. And then go back and remember this time and read. Because part of this shift in identity was that I also saw the gifts of not being in control, the gifts of letting go and letting other people carry me or pray for me or putting me in their hands, putting myself in their hands. So the shift has brought so many gifts, well beyond the fear and the vulnerability.
Bishop,
And I see you attentive
You know,
to the time.
Thank you, but especially thank you for being vulnerable and offering such gifts.
Thank you.
Bishop.
Thank
So
you.
Very, very much.
Thank you all. Thank you.